Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I'm so thrilled to have you here today. Look, if you're trying to figure out the massive tectonic shifts happening in commercial real estate development right now, you are in exactly the right place. Today we're taking a really structured, data-driven look at why green buildings in India are absolutely no longer just a nice-to-have, corporate social responsibility box to check. Actually, as the evidence overwhelmingly shows, they've rapidly transitioned into a highly lucrative, bare minimum business necessity. By the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly how the financial and regulatory landscape has fundamentally transformed.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today's briefing. We're going to cover the Building Boom Challenge, decoding the green frameworks, the new ECSBC 2024 standard, the undeniable ROI, lucrative government incentives, and finally, why it's a matter of adapt or be left behind.
All right, Section 1, the Building Boom Challenge. We're looking at both the macro threat and the opportunity here. To really get why sustainability in real estate is suddenly so urgent, we have to wrap our heads around the sheer, unprecedented scale of the Indian market right now.
Get this, 35%. That is the astounding share of India's total energy that is currently consumed just by the built environment. And that number? It isn't just sitting there. It's growing at a massive rate of 8% annually. The World Bank's IFC actually calls this the century of cities, and honestly, nowhere is this more true than right here in India.
And this brings us to a looming deadline. As the Altai report points out, India's national net zero emissions goal by 2070 demands crucial changes in the real estate sector's outlook towards building development and operations. And here is the real kicker. The footprint of buildings in India is expected to literally double by 2040. So when you combine a doubling footprint with a super strict national emissions deadline, it creates this intense, immediate pressure for developers to completely rethink how they build, right from the ground up.
Moving on to Section 2, decoding the green frameworks, or as I like to call it, the alphabet soup. So with this massive challenge staring them down, how did developers actually solve it? Well, they turned to certification systems. But let's be real, the market is completely flooded with this confusing alphabet soup of acronyms. Let's break them down.
And this brilliantly illustrates our main players. The top three frameworks developers are leaning on in India offer very different paths. First, you have IGBC, which was created right in India by the CII. It uses a very practical, checklist-based approach, and it's incredibly region-friendly. Then we have LEED. That one originates from the US Green Building Council, and it's highly advanced and performance-driven. Think detailed energy modeling. And finally, there's EDGE, an innovation from the World Bank Group's IFC. EDGE takes a strictly metrics-driven approach using this powerful, free web-based app that makes it exceptionally fast, online, and really cost-effective for identifying exactly how to cut energy, water, and embodied materials. So choosing the right one, it entirely depends on your specific project goals and how you want to position yourself in the market.
Section 3, the new ECSBC 2024 standard. This is your new regulatory baseline. Because beyond those voluntary certifications we just talked about, the actual legal baseline for building in India is shifting dramatically. Recently, the Bureau of Energy Efficiency published the Energy Conservation and Sustainable Building Code, or ECSBC 2024. This applies to commercial and office buildings with a connected load of 100 kilowatts or greater. It lays out 3 progressive tiers of compliance. You can be an ECSBC compliant building, you can step it up to an ECSBC plus building, or you can go for the gold and aim for a super ECSBC building. The key takeaway here is that regulations are no longer just one size fits all, right? They're tiered to actively push the whole industry toward excellence. It's basically a clear roadmap for where your future projects are legally going to need to sit.
But what is truly remarkable about this 2024 code is how it's evolving way past just simple energy efficiency. Notice the shift here. We're moving from just managing the embodied energy of heavy traditional materials, like concrete and bricks, to mandating full life cycle awareness. And yes, that includes the integration of solar panels and renewable power generation. It's literally hard-coding the balance between economic growth and ecological responsibility right into the law.
Okay, Section 4, the undeniable ROI. Let's talk about the financial reality. Because sure, saving the planet is absolutely vital, but at the end of the day, in the boardroom, the numbers have to make sense.
Let's look at the market numbers, because they are staggering. India's green building market is sitting at a very healthy $36 billion in 2024. But fast forward just 4 years to 2028, and it is expected to skyrocket to $85 billion.
That is an explosive compound annual growth rate of 10.59%. This definitively proves that green building is not just some compliance exercise anymore. It is a booming, highly lucrative economic sector of its own.
So how does that translate down to an individual property owner? Try 50% rental premium on for size. That's right, green-certified commercial buildings can command up to 50% more in rent. And on the residential side, those properties are achieving 10 to 20% higher resale values. The market demand for spaces that consume less energy and provide healthier indoor air quality is driving absolutely massive premiums.
Rahul Sabharwal from the Value Budget Housing Corporation really hit the nail on the head here. He said, all the solutions are right there. It is only a question of adoption. And he's right. Yes, your initial construction costs for green buildings might be 7 to 17% higher. But when you start factoring in those 18 to 50% rental premiums, the superior occupancy rates, and the massive annual savings on utility bills, the long-term life cycle value makes adoption a complete no-brainer. It's a highly profitable choice.
Now, what's really interesting about this is seeing it in action at a massive scale. Take Indospace. They are a huge pioneer of modern industrial and logistics parks. By certifying their properties with the EDGE framework, they literally cut utility bills for their tenants in half. Half! And because they committed to those verified metrics-driven green standards, Indospace was actually able to refinance its portfolio with a historic 1,000 crore rupee green loan from HSBC. That was the largest loan of its kind in India's history. So green certification is directly unlocking massive capital.
Which brings us to Section 5, lucrative government incentives, the policy catalysts. Because if those organic market premiums weren't enough for you, various state governments in India are heavily subsidizing this transition to sweeten the ROI even further.
Let's see how this actually plays out across different states, because the financial value here is wild, particularly when we talk about floor area ratio, or FAR. Look at Punjab. They're offering up to 10% free additional FAR and 100% exemption on building scrutiny fees for top-tier IGBC-rated projects. Maharashtra is offering a 3 to 7% FAR bonus, West Bengal gives an additional 10% for gold or platinum, and Rajasthan is offering a 50% subsidy for MSME green plant equipment. Guys, for a developer, an FR bonus is basically the government handing you free, buildable real estate. That alone covers the cost of your green certification many times over.
And the perks don't stop at building rights. Green-certified projects also unlock specialized financing. We're seeing low-interest loans coming through institutions like IREDA and ECSBC. You've got programs like Sunref India offering refinancing at really competitive interest rates for affordable green housing. When you add in faster environmental clearances and certification fee reimbursements from various state departments, the government is essentially paying developers to build better.
Section 6. Adapt or be left behind. The ultimatum. We've seen the scale of the challenge. We've decoded the frameworks, the new codes, the massive market premiums, and the government incentives. So what is the final bottom line for the industry? Well, the data from the Alta report is pretty unequivocal. This transformation towards sustainability is arguably one of the most significant shifts in the sector's entire history. Green buildings have moved completely from a niche, sort of boutique preference to the absolute market standard. For corporate decision makers, organizations that embrace this today are going to secure massive competitive advantages in cost savings, talent attraction, and pure asset value. And those that delay, they risk a severe competitive disadvantage. You are simply not going to be able to attract premium multinational tenants or top-tier investors if your building is a resource hog. It's just not going to happen. So I want to leave you with one final critical question as you think about your own portfolio. Are you building for tomorrow, or are you already obsolete today? The frameworks are there, the financial incentives are absolutely massive, and the choice is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep building smart, and I will see you next time.